in this episode of the Cinema Goodness Podcast.
But here's the dark scene that I was talking about. When they get to that workshop, and Miss Minutes is talking about why he never made her a body.
Yeah.
And then she superimposed her face against that mannequin. That was creepy as hell.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, Miss Minutes, now you get a little freaky.
Miss Minutes wanted her clock struck, man. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you. Thank you.
She wanted some loving, bro. What's going on, family? It's Kahim and JP back with another episode. How you doing today, JP?
Man, I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good, man. We back in the saddle, man. Feeling good. We got an amazing episode for y'all. It's been a while since we've been here, but we're going to come back strong. You know what I'm saying? So we got some trailer reactions for y'all. We got Kingdom of Planet of the Apes. We have Marvel's Echo. And we're going to wrap things up with Loki talk, man. First, I guess, 5 episodes of Loki Season 2, man. Very excited episode. Can't wait to get into it. So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn. Let's get into the cinema goodness. Hey, that was kind of smooth for the first talk back, man. Yeah, I'm excited, bro. Excited to get back into it. You know, I was doing some a little research, man.
Okay.
And the first episode that we ever did was Black Panther.
Okay.
Black Panther, and that was November of last year, wasn't it? Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, November.
But you know what? That you're right.
November 11th.
Okay, and that was that's funny enough. That's definitely my birthday. So Let me think though. That was Black Panther 2.
Yeah, Wakanda Forever.
Now we had done some reviews before we jumped in. Before then, though, right?
No, I think that was the first one.
It was? Oh man,
it was the first one, man, and that was almost a year ago.
Well, I'm glad that we did it and we're back at it because it's November again.
Yeah, man. So, man, let's get into these trailer reactions, man. Kingdom of Planet of the Apes.
When I sleep, I see strange things.
Memories?
Not memories. New things. I see everything.
That is not everything. What a wonderful day!
That's interesting.
It is. I'm thinking this is Caesar's son that they're going with. Maybe we don't know, but it looks like kind of like that's his son because it kind of looks kind of like Caesar. But I've enjoyed all of the new Planet of the Apes, man. I think they do a really good job of them, and technology is dope now, so they got the animals talking and stuff, man. It looks really good. I'm excited to see it, man. Memorial Day. So
yes, they have them talking in very clear, very clear voices now.
Yeah, man. I remember the first Planet of the Apes. The very first one I seen, the one with Mark Wahlberg back in the day. And I was a kid, and it scared me a little bit. You know, seeing the monkeys talk and stuff. I was a little kid, bro. Made me nervous, man. But I got a chance to appreciate it as I got older. And I think they're doing a great job, man. I think it's going to be fun. I don't know if it's going to be as good as the first three. Because you know how they had Caesar, how they took Caesar from the beginning to, I guess, his end. Was real impactful. So looks like they're just trying to keep the franchise going with this one. So we'll see how it turn out.
I think it's interesting. These are much better than the original one. I remember, like you said, when I used to see the old one, the original one, when it would come on TV like late at night, I never liked it. I don't know if it scared me, but it was something about it, like it turned me off. I never was able to watch much of it. That's the one where what's his name?
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg.
No, not Mark Wahlberg. I'm talking about all the way back.
Oh no, like the black and white ones?
Yes, with not Harrison Ford. It's the guy who says, "You damn dirty apes."
Oh,
what is his name? Not Robert Redford.
That's an old school. I don't know. You going way back, man.
That's the original one. I hated that one. I would turn it off quickly.
Yeah, the ones I'm talking about was the one with Mark Wahlberg.
Marky Mark.
Yeah, man. They had him in the cages and stuff. It was just how the way the mouth was moving, man. Just freaked me out, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. It's good. Hope it's I know I'm gonna watch it.
Oh yeah. And that's a ways out. Memorial Day, that's May.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna be looking forward to that one, man.
Yes, sir.
Let's get into this. Marvel Studios Echo. Echo made her debut in Arrow and Hawkeye, right?
It's possible. I believe so. You read between the lines, that means I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah. Gotcha. Let's get into it, man.
Maya. I see everything that you are. I have.
Hey, don't play.
Don't be afraid. You have so much pain in you. You. So much rage. That you can't contain it. You and I are the same.
Man.
So, who's the monster?
I'm excited to see this one.
Yeah, man. It was good. It was good. They got the same girl back from Hawkeye.
Okay.
They
That's
kind of
good.
teased her in that series. Hawkeye was pretty good, man. It wasn't as dry as I thought it would be. It was pretty good.
I need to go back and watch it. That one and Ms. Marvel. I need to go watch those two.
Yeah, because Ms. Marvel actually coming out in a few days.
Exactly. So I'll be prepared for when I actually go see the movie.
Right. I don't know too much about Echo, but watching Kingpin, I'm glad they got the same guy, man.
Vincent D'Onofrio. That man. It's almost like, I don't know. He was born to play this role because he is killing it. I think people are going to tune into this series for him only.
Yeah, I believe it.
Because he's done so well.
Yeah, watching his character arc from Daredevil, man, it's perfect. He always wanted a family, his own, to look after, man. So him finding Echo, and I guess taking her under his wing, fits right in line with his character arc, man. And yeah, I'm excited. She was holding that gun to him in that trailer. He had the eye patch. I want to see how they get there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, not to try to figure out what it's about or predict, but it seems like she is fighting against, because he's a crime lord.
Yeah.
Kingpin.
Yeah.
And she's probably look like she's fighting his men.
Yeah.
Throughout the movie, but then he's got the big joker. Like, I mean, you and me are the same.
Yeah.
Same thing that you doing, I did for you. It's where it seems like it's going. So I don't know. That's a compelling story if that's the case.
Yeah, I think she got some type of thing against him now. Like, she's rebelling.
Okay.
I'm just trying to, because I don't remember Hawkeye too much. So, like you said, you need to go back and watch it. I need to go back and watch it too, to see, to try to tie some of them knots together.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it looks good, man. I can't wait to see it. I think they got this thing with Marvel, man. A lot of people saying they was pushing out too much at one time. Now they starting to scale back,
Mm-hmm.
And with this and with the one that we're going to talk about next, Loki, man, I think they're trying to work on their series, make their series a little stronger.
Now, this is something we actually kind of hit on before, but do you believe that? Yeah, I know you said people say that. What is your opinion?
I think I think they do a good job of telling each story. Some aren't as exciting as the other ones, but they still all push their main story forward, which is like their phase, like with Endgame and all of that. Every story that they had pushed the story forward to that Endgame. So now they're pushing, Kang and all of that, and all of these gonna tie in some way to what that main story is. So I don't think they're putting out too much. I think everybody has a particular taste, and some stories aren't going to hit as much as others. Like, some people don't like She-Hulk, other people do. With Miss Marvel, some people didn't like that. I thought it was great. There were some stories in the first phase that I didn't like. I didn't care for the Thors, but other people like them. So I don't know.
You make a very good point there. I think that there's a huge amount of recency bias because people are only focused on what has just happened recently. But there's a whole group of middling movies that, like, in that first phase, the Thors being some of them, even Iron Man 3 to me was let down. So everything in the first phase wasn't a hit, but I think the better you do, the more people expect, and people have group mentality. So they aren't thinking for themselves. I think people just jump on the bandwagon of trying to pick at something to find something negative. The one thing that Marvel, I think, has done is try to bring in more stories. And this is no matter which direction you go, you can't please everybody, because how many people have been saying we need more better stories. We need to hear about these other characters. Don't just tell us about the same character. Well, then now they're going down, they're digging deep, because if we're being honest, the whole Avengers, for the most part, those characters are in the, if we were to compare how well known Iron Man and Captain America were before the MCU versus Superman and Batman, they were like B characters.
Right.
So from the outset, they're taking characters that aren't as popular as some of the main superheroes that we all grew up with. So it's not out of the ordinary for them to go and grab these small characters. I think as long as the writing makes sense, then I'm cool with it, because it can still be enjoyable. My issue comes in when it feels like you're rushing, or you're just trying to jam it in and you aren't actually doing it the due diligence. I feel like, especially for our next topic, for Loki, the resources that they put behind it, and this could also be said for WandaVision, in comparison to some of the other ones, it's noticeable.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you feel the same, but the level of writing, the level of how the story is put together, how logical it is, does it make any sense? The things that they put into Loki just make, to me, it seems like they put more into it, and that's appreciated by me.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just still trying to get used to this 6-episode series, man. Like, and I don't know how they're making Loki so enjoyable in 6. Like, it's like you're still getting a well-rounded story in those 45 minutes time, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't the same for, like we said, She-Hulk and Miss Marvel wasn't the same. But another thing that crossed my mind is like, all right, we're kind of accustomed to Loki. You know what I'm saying? We've watched Loki develop, and like even getting into this, the series, like his character arc, watching him develop has been one of the best experience I've seen from the MCU, even over like Iron Man. You know what I'm saying? Like he's had like one of the best. So I don't know how they're capturing that, but the guys working on this series, they're doing a hell of a job, man.
Hey, one way they're doing it, we have been introduced to Loki since the second movie in the MCU proper, which was the first Thor movie, correct?
Right.
So we have had an opportunity to observe Loki over a longer period of time. And I think that is probably a big part of it. And you again made a very good point, because even Iron Man's arc wasn't as good as Loki's, because by the time we get to the last movie, they're still fighting. They're still have so many scars that they're dealing with, just amongst the Avengers, that really made it easier for Thanos to defeat them in the first movie. And we don't get a full resolution before we end up with Tony's sacrifice. So I feel like, because we've had the opportunity to see Loki for longer, and because the writing is so much better, and let's also say Mr. Hiddleston is in his bag. He's a great actor. Yeah. He's bringing an A game to what he's doing, and that makes it even more believable.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree, man. It's been great watching them. Let's get into the series, man.
All right, so we jump in now. We're in season 2 of Loki. So for those, if you missed it, I don't know what rock you were under, but come from up under that rock. You need to go and get on Disney Plus and see that first season of Loki. Take a Saturday or something or evening and catch up. Let's set the stage. Loki died in the first installment of Endgame. Let's establish that.
Yeah.
So we saw him die,
the neck.
and he died at the hands of Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We saw a version of him escape.
Right.
And that is the
Tesseract.
Exactly. Using the Tesseract when they were hatching their plan to defeat Loki and bring everybody back from the blip. Okay. So we come into Loki. We know we're dealing with a variant of Loki. We know that that's essentially what this whole series is going to be about. And we're introduced in this because he took the Tesseract. He's accosted. He got hemmed up. He got arrested. They took him to the Pokey. The Pokey is the Time Variance Authority, which is a place outside of space and time, the TVA, and these are the time cops. The idea of time cops is not new. If you're in sci-fi, time cops in a lot of different shows have come up in a lot of different ways, right?
Right.
Okay, so they are the time cops of the MCU. And because Loki is a variant, he's completely out of place because he died in the actual prime timeline. He gets accosted. They come through. They have this technology where they go and find him where he went to hide after he escaped. So this is how we get introduced to the TVA. We get introduced to Mobius. He is the character that is hilarious.
Kind of like a detective.
Right? Exactly. And he's been played by Owen Wilson.
Mm-hmm. Great job, doing a great job.
Oh, yeah. He's being himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's in there. Owen Wilson, not Luke Wilson. Yeah, Owen Wilson. Okay. Mm-hmm. I get them mixed up. Yeah. So we got Owen Wilson as Mobius. We're introduced to Ravonna Renslayer. She's the head of the TVA. She's the head of the TVA as far as we understand.
Yeah.
And then we come to find out that the TVA is governed by this tribunal. These three, they look like gods. They're kind of in a crowded room, and we're trying to figure out who they are and what they're all about. Anywho, over the course of the series, we get introduced to variants. Variants are different. They're versions of people from different timelines. The TVA's responsibility is to cull those variants, which is to kill them, essentially, because they should not exist. And they, what's the term they use? Prune. They're pruning that person. So because Mobius feels like Loki can help him with the special project, he saves Loki. Right. Mm-hmm. And he's going to essentially turn Loki into his CI, his informant, to help him in finding this variant that keeps killing all of these TVA agents, right? Right. So come to find out that the variant that's killing all of the TVA agents is another variant of Loki. Right. So he's shocked. He doesn't realize. He's like, what? Okay, so me killing all these other people, you got me to help you catch me? Yeah. So ultimately, they become friends. Of course, he hates him at first, and it's a hilarious part of the first one of the first episodes when Loki is all braggadocious, and he's like, "I'm a god, and you can't do anything to me." And come to find out, his magic does not work. Right?
Go, can't get it out.
Right? And you know what's funny about that? That actually he paralleled that in the most recent episode. He did that again.
That's how you get a power out.
Exactly. So as that first season goes through, we come to find out that this tribunal that we're seeing, these shrouded figures, they are animatronic Chuck E. Cheese heads.
Yeah.
Right. They are Friday Night at Freddy's robots. They are not even real. The whole thing is a sham. And we ultimately come to find out that the TVA was designed and set up by He Who Remains.
He Who Remains.
We know that character is being brought to the screen by Jonathan Majors. And so he's not only He Who Remains, he's He Who Remains is a variant of Kang the Conqueror. Okay. And that's where he's introduced in that first season. We come to find out that this whole idea of manipulating time and these variants and timelines, all of this is something that is the specialty of He Who Remains and his different variants over time.
Right.
He's trying to protect the prime timeline, but the variant of Loki, who turns out to be female, her name is Sylvie. She has an aunt. She's upset, and she wants to kill He Who Remains. But this is very important because in the last episode of the second season, they went back in the recap and they showed us something all the way back to the last episodes of the first season. And it was He Who Remains telling them in his all villains have to give you a monologue.
Yeah, that monologue. Yeah.
Villain's monologue. He tells them every step that you made, I have planned it out. I paved the road. That's exactly it.
Every step you took to get here, Lamentus the Void, I paved the road. You just walked down it.
So this whole thing, everything bringing them to the void, where He Who Remains is, brings them there. Sylvie's upset, and she's a Loki. She's a god in her mind. Nobody's going to tell her what to do. He told her, if you kill me, one of my variants is going to replace me, and it's going to be worse for you. And she killed him anyway. That's season 1. And man, season 2 picked up right from there.
Yeah, man. So Loki's having this. Once Sylvie kills He Who Remains, Loki's having this issue. It's like he's time slipping. Like he's going from one point in time to another point in time, and it's uncontrollable. Like
why was that happening though?
Now I'm not really sure why it wasn't happening at first, because I guess he got torn, like from the past and the present, like in his molecules or something wasn't whole, so he was trapped basically in one point, and then like the past, present, and the future, like he was trapped there when he went through that situation with He Who Remains and the void, and him trying to get back to where he was supposed to be inside the TVA. So when all of that stuff happened, it kind of caused a tear, I guess, inside of Loki, and he couldn't stay in one point in time. So in the first episode, they were trying to figure out how to fix Loki's time slipping, and they meet somebody named OB or Boris OB, who's kind of like this high-tech wizard. He actually wrote the TVA handbook. He's a real smart guy. He handles all the gadgets and things like that. And they actually help Loki, come back to the present.
Exactly.
He used the loom, which is this big machine that controls the time, the timeline. The timelines make sure every timeline is, I guess, managed accurately. And yeah, man, they had this big scene where Mobius is like running to the loom and trying to get Loki to materialize back into the TVA, which was a really great scene. The visual was amazing, man. Like him standing on that platform and the loom was like in front of him and stuff, man. Yeah, man. I was like, oh, this episode, well, the season's about to be crazy.
And let me jump in for a second, because I didn't say this, and it needs to be said. The reason that all of this is happening is because them killing He Who Remains ended the management of the timelines.
Right.
So whereas the timelines before were being managed when Sylvie murdered He Who Remains, now all of the timelines are branching out of control.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're trying
and
to
that's
figure
why
out
all of this is happening. That's why that also is connected to Loki's time slipping as well.
Yeah, right. So yeah, that's really the whole season is really centered around this catastrophic event that the loom protects the main timeline basically, and because He Who Remains has died now everything is out of whack, right? So He Who Remains has this like his AI assistant, Miss Minutes, right, which is like this virtual clock who kind of like helped him like keep things in order, man, with the TVA. And now that he's AI. Yeah, shit, AI. There we go again with it, right? But yeah, man, I love her character, by the way, man. Like, you always gotta have that cold villain, the one that's not really, you don't think she's a villain, but she ends up being one. Like, you know, and I think that's who Miss Minutes is, man. She got some tricks up her sleeve, bro. Still, I think.
Most definitely. Miss Minutes is treacherous. Let me tell you. Just the stuff that that has happened this season. So when they went back to find one of the other variants of He Who Remains, Victor Timely, man, we get to see how treacherous Miss Minutes can be.
Yeah,
because there was like a really dark scene in there.
Yeah.
Because Ravonna, and I don't know, did we mention Ravonna Renslayer? Yeah, we mentioned her.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get Victor because He Who Remains has died, and they're trying to get another variant to potentially try to take his place so that they can restore the TVA.
Yeah, the secret timeline.
Exactly, because they know that he's the one who designed all. Even though Ouroboros wrote the practical manual, it was actually based on the theoretical teachings of Victor Timely, and we see how all of that happened.
Yeah,
because essentially, and that's
Ravonna. Yeah,
exactly. So when you're watching it, you're seeing that when I watched the last episode, and the first recap was him saying, "Every step I have paid for you," it started in my mind. I'm like, you know what? Everything that has happened, this is all in the plan.
Yeah, because it was dope because when Ravonna actually gets to that certain point, it was like 1970, 1964 or something like that. Like 1964, like, but He Who Victor Timely
when they were in Chicago.
Yeah. So Ravonna had met up with Miss Minutes in Chicago in 1964, and Miss Minutes was like, "Did you bring what I told you to bring?" Basically, it was a TVA handbook. So TVA handbook was dropped into this younger kid's room, like basically, and then he picks up the book, and then it cuts to the present or whatever, and like I guess like 20 some years pass or something, and Victor Timely has built I guess the prototype of the loom. And if we remember, the loom is the thing that kind of controls the sacred timeline, make sure all the energy is flowing through timelines to keep everything in order. And yeah, man, I love. What do you think about Victor Timely's character, though? When they first introduced Victor Timely, he's given an exhibit of the loom, basically showing how it works for a presentation, basically. And yeah, he gives his performance. And what do you think about that?
That part was hilarious because, first of all, that was a throwback. That was what was that? That was a post-credit scene from which movie?
I feel like it was Loki. The end of Loki first season. It just shows that Loki recognized Victor Timely for He Who Remains.
There you go. Okay, I thought it was on one of the other bigger movies. It was at the finale of Loki, the first season. Gotcha. Right, no, I loved it because he was very persuasive in his presentation, but you know that he's limited by the technology. Right. He has all of the technical knowledge, and this is why He Who Remains and King and Conqueror are so devious, because no matter what you do, he has the ability to go back and replan it again to make sure it happens the way he wants for it to happen. Because he essentially, now he has already created all this. He says, okay, I'm going to give myself a leg up. I'm going to have the book written, give it to my younger self, make sure that I can get that head start, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I loved his presentation, and it's hilarious when, come to find out he's a shyster. And a lot of his stuff doesn't really actually work.
Everything's a prototype, though. You know what I'm saying?
It's all prototypes.
All prototype. And I told you that. So am I really a shyster? I tried to tell you. It's a prototype. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what his thing is, man. I told you it was a prototype. But yeah, man, I'm loving, like, it's always enjoyable watching Jonathan Majors move in and out of the series. And again, we talk about this with the stuff that he does, man. Each character is different. Victor Timely is different from He Who Remains, who is different from Kane. You know what I'm saying? So, but they all variants. They all like a piece of him, but it's all different. And the way he makes them all different is just mind-blowing to me, bro. Like, even in the accent and the way he carries himself, it's just like you can never be too sure what he's going to bring, man.
When they brought Victor Timely to the TVA, that Negro was in his bag. When I tell you the way he was presenting Victor Timely, I'm like, man, yeah, he is.
Even with the hot cocoa, like even getting the guard to like drink the hot cocoa, like it's subtle, but his enjoyment about it made the guard was like, okay, let me just, and that just show how persuasive he is. Like even for somebody that you feel is so eccentric and kind of like wacky, he still can get you to do kind of what he wants you to do just by being himself. And yeah, man. So when he gets to the whole reason that he's in the TVA is because, like we said, the loom is going to like catastrophic failure, right? And when OB talks to them about repairing it or fixing the loom, OB says that they need the temporal aura, the aura of whoever created the loom and the TVA, to actually open the barn door so they can actually go out and fix the sphere or whatever it was that connects to the loom. So Loki and Mobius go around trying to find He Who Remains. They run into Victor Timely. Loki recognizes him. They bring him back to the TVA. First, Sylvie tried to kill him again, right? Because Sylvie found out that they found the variant, tried to kill him again. And yeah, man, they tried to kill him again. And, she didn't succeed or whatever. They get him to go to the TVA, try to help repair the loom. And yeah, man, that's kind of when everything started turning a little freaky because Ravonna is there. She's trying to do her own thing to try to repair the TVA. Like she's got some manipulation things going on, some underhanded things, and none of that works. Because Sylvie is on her ass basically. She on her, but she don't want her to live.
And add to that, Victor being kind of because he's a slippery character.
Yeah.
And this adds to the treachery because when Ravonna and Miss Minutes went back in time to go get him, then Ravonna is trying to say that she wants to be his partner. I clocked, pun intended, Miss Minutes. I could see his reaction and I could see Miss Minutes' reaction.
Yeah.
Next thing we see, they done double-crossed her.
Yeah.
Dropped her behind off the boat in a little dinghy.
Yeah.
in Chicago while they're heading to his workshop.
Yeah.
That was hilarious, but it shows the deviousness of Miss Minutes because she knows so much, but she's only giving out a little bit at a time. And it's also, let me also say this. The reason that they need it, because I was confused about this at first. I was like, what? I'm confused. Now, you mentioned before that they went out to the loom the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And because they sent Mobius out. Was it Mobius or Loki?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay.
Mobius.
Sent him out to the loom. He had to, put on this big suit to go out there to be protected against the temporal radiation.
Right.
But they did not need He Who Remains' temporal aura to open up the doors.
Right.
But see, Miss Minutes, when all of this stuff went down, she left the TVA and essentially she screwed them. She pulled have you seen the first Jurassic Park? The security guy, the IT guy that's in control of everything, and he helps to destroy the park because he's trying to steal some of the embryos and sell them to another company. He's trying to do some espionage.
Yeah.
Because he's got control of everything. He sets a trap. Well, that's the same thing that Miss Minutes does. So they're struggling because they don't have control of everything in the TVA anymore because she's essentially messed up the system and locked them out. And that's why they end up having to try to get Victor Timely in the first place because he's the only one who can now reopen it. But here's the dark scene that I was talking about. When they get to that workshop and Miss Minutes is talking about why he never made her a body.
Yeah.
And then she superimposed her face against that mannequin. That was creepy as hell.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, Miss Minutes, now you getting a little freaky.
Miss Minutes wanted her clock struck, man. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you. Thank you.
She wanted some loving, bro.
Thank you. And then he dropped her behind too.
Right. So y'all doing too much, man. I just met y'all first of all. Like, y'all coming on too strong, man. Come on, man.
That was hilarious.
Partner, you want a body, bro? I don't know who y'all think I am, but I'm not that guy. Which is what he told Sylvie when he came in there. When she came in there, tried to kill him.
Exactly.
Again, he's like, that's not me. I don't know who you think I am, basically, but you don't know me. And I thought that was a powerful scene too, man. I was just like, the way he captures these emotions, And then you got Sylvie, she's feeding off of that. She's like, man, I can't do it. I can't kill him, whatever. And that's just like that whole endearing thing that we talk about, just Victor Timely and how Jonathan Majors actually portray the characters, man.
She actually said later on that when she was about to kill him, she saw fear in him.
Right.
But she never had seen that before in He Who Remains.
Right.
So that is essentially kind of one of the reasons why she backed off, because she knew it wasn't the same guy. But the crazy thing is, it's the same guy.
Same guy.
Even if he don't know it, it's the same guy.
Yeah. Which is cool though, because he sacrifices himself basically. You know what I'm saying? So, well, I mean, in that instance, and like for all he knows, you know what I'm saying, he's making a sacrifice because as they're trying to get, as OB and Victor Tomley trying to figure out how to fix the loom, they figure out that they got to make the inner parts big enough to where all the timeline's energy can fit through and it can start managing itself again. And you know, somebody has to go out into, you know, get the, I guess that sphere or whatever. I don't think I know what that part is. I forgot the name of like that part. But
the part that they made.
Yeah, the part that they made
that will make the rings get bigger so that the more timelines could go.
Yeah, but it's something scientific that OB and Victor Townley had, you know. Wait, one more, that thing, his prized possession, the thing that he went back to get, that was his ship, right? That was a model for his ship, right? Kang's ship, which is crazy.
And that's why I'm going to sound like a broken record. Every single piece of this brings you back to Kang the Conqueror, because when he got it, when he went and got his prized possession, I was like, that looks like a small version of his ship. Okay, yeah. So when they're talking about how do we fix the loom, well, this is what you need, because the throughput, output, whatever is outpacing the who's the what's. They gave her explanation. Right. So he's like, you need this, and OB was like, okay, yeah, well, it's gonna take some time to get it, but we'll figure it out. I'm like, okay, that's another puzzle piece. Getting this object, which is essentially a small prototype of his ship,
right?
Getting that to the TVA, to the time, to which is in a space is outside of space and time. That is Kang the Conqueror's whole. That's why he's so powerful, because he can exist outside of space and time. So right. All of this is he's literally putting every domino in place, because he knows that you're gonna have, you kill me, okay, you're gonna need another me, because Miss Minutes programming is gonna turn against y'all, and then you're gonna need me again when everything goes haywire. You're gonna go get one of me, okay. You're already in the instructions, because they were following his instructions in bringing his child version.
Yeah,
the TVA manual. That was because when they first came in, they were like, we have very specific instructions. They dropped it in his childhood window. By the time he is grown, he knows it backwards and forward.
Right.
And all of this is playing back in. So I mean, I'm putting it all back in literally. When we get to the last part of the last episode, this is why I said I don't know if he sacrificed himself. Every other person who was there when the loom explodes, Loki is able to somehow time slip, but he's connecting to wherever they are, even though they can't remember him. Yeah. Everyone except for Victor Timely.
Yeah. So this is my so when we get to the fifth episode, so the fourth episode of season 2, they're trying to convene. They're in that Bay Area, trying to figure out who's going to go out and put the key in the lock, basically, and unlock the rings. And Victor Tomley was like, man, I can do it, because if something goes wrong, I can do something from out there. None of y'all really can do it. So this was why I said Victor Tomley, in his mind, he's making a sacrifice to go out there and, kind of save the day, because he feel like they need him. That's why he was brought to the TVA, to do a job. He's going to do it, save the day, right? That's what he's thinking in his mind. But outside of that, Kang is orchestrating this thing, knowing what's going to happen when he goes out there. And as soon as, so OB was like, okay, the temporal radiation is so strong out there, so you got to move fast, right? That's his mind. They can still get it done, but he's going to have to move fast. As soon as Victor Tomley walks out of that door, My man disintegrates, bro. He disintegrates, and when he disintegrates, bro, I'm just like spaghetti noodles. It's just like, what is going on, man? He explodes, and then that's when Loki realizes it's over. Everything that they work for is kind of like blown up in their face. Yeah. So episode 5 opens up, and he's back to time slipping. They opened the season with him time slipping. Now the 5th episode, he's back to time slipping, and he trying to figure out what's going on. And like you said, every person that was in that room, he was time slipping back to, I guess, wherever they was in that point, in the point in time where, on the timeline. So
because they're all variants. Everybody is a variant.
Yeah, which is what they found out at the end. Like at the end of
season 1.
Season 1, they found out that everybody in the TVA was a variant,
and they all had lives on the timeline of some sort.
Yeah. So Loki's trying to figure out, because when they open the 5th episode, he's in the TVA by himself, like it's empty, it's totally empty, and he's time slipping, man. And it's cool because this time when he starts time slipping, it's actually for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like I guess, so Loki could find a way to save the TVA, man. And that 5th episode was so crazy, man. Like getting us from like that point to where everything, I guess, blows up to Loki's time slipping. He finally runs back into Sylvie, and she's like, I know what happened. I was there. And it was like how did you just walk away? I guess she thought that everything was cool. Like she could just walk away scot-free, go on her life on the timeline and live her life. And Loki was like, nah, it's not what it is.
But she really, because they had shown her life on the timeline previously in this season, and she really seemed to even though it was like she worked at McDonald's, but she was very happy with her life there. I think all of the expectations of being a Loki were weighing on her. So just having this simple life where, you work at McDonald's, you go home, you have everything you need, but it just felt like it was enough for her. Because even though all of that hell they had been through, she was absolutely happy. I'll go back to my life.
Right.
And ultimately rebuffed when Loki finally time slipped to her. She was like, I want to keep my life. And that was like, that made him almost give up.
Yeah. But this is where his character arc is just so dope, because they're sitting at the bar, and she was like, why are you still fighting? Like, everybody's gone. Nobody really knows what's going on but you and me, basically. Why are you fighting so hard to keep this together? And it finally gets to the point to where he says, I want my friends back. And I'm thinking, like, Loki back in the day would have never even thought about other people. You know what I'm saying?
He only cared about himself.
Only cared about himself. And watching that character arc, and I was reading something online, it says, one of the main points of, I guess, Loki is to get him back to Thor. You know what I'm saying? And get him, when he gets back to Thor, he's totally different than what, Thor remembers of Loki. He thinking Loki's selfish and all of that stuff. And this Loki that he runs into will be a better version of Loki, basically. And they can have, I guess, the brotherhood that they wanted, or what Thor wanted. So yeah, man, it's very interesting watching that. I'm looking because it's dope, because when he gets to Obi, and he says you have to control his time slipping. He's like, man, I can't control it. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to control it. And it gets to the point to where he realizes it's about, I guess, the people. You know what I'm saying? His friends, him wanting to save his friends. And that feeling kind of helped him manage this time slipping. And yeah, man, like they always in that room together. and then everything just started falling apart. Everybody just started withering away, disintegrating with the spaghetti noodles and all of that stuff. Yeah, man, he finally, I guess, gets a hold of this time slipping thing, and I wonder if that's going to be a new power of his, or if it's going to, if he's going to be able to fix it, like if it's going to go away.
I mean, I think that would be pretty cool, him being able to control it, because it's ultimately going to be the key to figuring out what's going on. Because they're so far, even still, and I thought for a moment that Sylvie couldn't be affected because she's like Loki. When she disintegrated too, I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's serious.
So, yeah, they all could be affected, because at first it was just the humans. But when it was her too, I was like, oh, okay. So even them being Asgard, well, not even Asgardian, but demigods in this universe, they can still be affected by this disintegration of the timeline. So him taking control of it is I love that. And then I think it's going to give him an upper hand against He Who Remains and Kang, right. Because that's really Kang's power is his manipulation of time. He knows how to do it. He understands time better than probably anybody in the MCU, and that's the core of his powers, being able to control time and understand it the way he has, because he's lived so many different lifetimes. I have a question, and this is something that, I always have a question.
Yeah.
Loki's plan, what he believes will help, is to save the TVA, and he thinks that saving the TVA will stop Kang the Conqueror.
Oh yeah, or He Who Remains from coming back. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how strong his plan is.
Yeah, I think he feels like restoring the TVA or put everything back to normal. Back to where it was before He Who Remains died. That way the other variants won't come in. They can kind of control the other Kang variants. If they fix the TVA, they could kind of manage the variants. So him restoring that will kind of solve the Kang problem. That's what I guess that's what he's thinking. But like you said, I don't know how strong that is, because they're gonna come, especially because you're letting all of these branches out. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna come regardless. So yeah, that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird.
We'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, so this is my idea though. This is my question. Because at the end of the 5th episode, he finally figures out how to time slip on his own. So how far is he going to go back to try to fix the problem? Because they still need, like you said, Victor Tomley's temple aura. Is he going to go before he disintegrates, or before Victor Tomley decides to go out there? Does Loki go out there instead, or what? You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm thinking. Like, how far is he going to go back to solve the problem? Because
maybe
they still have to fix it.
Maybe he will go back and stop Sylvie from killing He Who Remains.
Ooh, that would be a good idea. But if they do that, then that's not going to push the story forward, though. They have to leave the story out. You know what I'm saying? That would be great. You know what I'm saying? But if he saves He Who Remains, then that's kind of like, I don't know if he could go back that far. Maybe he can. I don't know. That's interesting. That's what I would do.
Yeah. He's tried to stop Sylvie. He tried to stop Sylvie from killing He Who Remains that first time, and she kicked him through one of the time doors. I don't know. He might have to go to a time before that, because he would have to be able to convince Sylvie, and at that point she wasn't she wasn't convincible. No one could convince her to stop what she was doing, because even like you said earlier, when they found Victor Timely, she wanted to kill him too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He would have to. I don't know. It's a conundrum. It's meant to be a conundrum, though.
Yeah.
Because it's you got to figure out how is there. I'm feeling like what is his name? Sorcerer Supreme.
Dr. Strange.
There's 14 million different opportunities, and only one. Only one we come out victorious.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is gonna be. It's but it's good. I'm riveted. I'm ready. Yeah. I knew at the end when he said there's one person that I need to find. I knew he was talking about. He needs to find He Who Remains. Yeah. That's the only way he's gonna fix this.
Yeah, man. Season 5, man. They're writing the hell out of this series, man.
Yeah.
I was nervous. I didn't know where they was gonna go with it when it first came back, but yeah, they're doing great, man. What are your predictions for the season finale, man?
Maybe what we just talked about, him going back to try to save He Who Remains from being killed. But I think that ultimately we're going to find out that every single thing was paved and planned by Cain, and not only Cain, but He Who Remains as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that part is going to be, because we know that Kang the Conqueror is the big bad for this phase. So how we get there is just the only part we don't know just yet.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying the ride. I'm hoping that they'll surprise us.
Yeah, man. I feel like another Kang variant gonna seep out of there somewhere, man. That's what I think. I feel like that's what's gonna happen, man. What do you guys think, man? Have y'all been watching Loki? Let us know in the comments, man. What are y'all feeling about it? Season 6, episode 6 is coming out this Thursday. We are recording this on a Sunday, so hopefully we'll have this episode out before the season finale. We're gonna try our best to have it out. So I want to hear y'all predictions, man. What's gonna happen? And anything else, JP?
No, I'm just glad to be back. I'm enjoying the series. Have you been watching Gen V?
I haven't watched it yet, man, but I saw Invincible's coming back. Invincible's a very good animation show. I want to watch Gen V. So some other stuff that I'm looking forward to watching, man. We got to talk about Blue Beetle, man. We got to talk about it next time. Yeah, man. Next time we got to talk about Blue Beetle, man. I really enjoyed that, but it's some stuff that I want to talk about.
Okay.
But yeah, man, let us know if y'all like the episode, all that good stuff. Welcome back to the Cinema Goodness Podcast. I'm your host, Kahim, and my other co-host,
JP.
Yeah, man. Until next time, you have a light that is out of this world. Let it shine and be the richness that this world deserves. Much love, family. Be enriched.
Peace.